welcome everybody. Happy Silver people. Look at this. It's a real live, amazing book that we've got I've got in my hands. And I have to say, I received this last Saturday, and it's a joy. It's the feel of it, the look of it. It's one of those books you can just open up, and I'm going to do that, Rachel, by the way, and quiz you later. You can open up and you can read a chapter in sort of 10 minutes. And I must admit, with this book, I didn't want to buy this book because I didn't want to admit I had grey hair. But as you can see, I have got grey hair. But after reading this book, oh no, I have silver hair. And I am celebrating my silver and wearing it with pride. And I may now become Steve Start Silver Fox. I'm not quite sure yet. But Rachel, it is glorious. It absolutely is a book that I think, and the feel of it, but I'll talk about that later. But enough about me. You don't know me blabbering on, because you know I can do that for hours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lords and ladies around the world, may I introduce the author, Rachel Woodward Carrick. There she is. Hi, Rachel.
Wow. Thank you, Steve. I think you're giving me a big build up there. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone for joining. It's really great to see everyone there. I wish Mum would switch her camera on.
Oh, it's Mum there.
Everything's great.
Okay. Fantastic. I didn't realize Mum was there, so maybe no swearing.
Yeah, Mum is there.
Okay. Hi, Mum, wherever Mum is. I can not see a lot. Brilliant. Well, fantastic that people are here, and that's lovely the family are here as well, because writing the book is such an engaging process, isn't it? So as the author of this book, do you want to just tell us a little about yourself, Rachel, and where you're coming from as to Happy Silver people?
Yes, so there's quite a bit in the book about me and bits of my life, which I thought were relevant for what I was talking about. I suppose for me, what drove me to write the book was coming up to the age of 60 and being aware that I obviously was getting older, but then thinking about what that meant for me and how I could prepare for the years ahead. So I talk in the book about my grandmother who lived to be 103. It's possible, I hope, I might have inherited some of those longevity genes. I don't think that was the only thing that contributed to her long life, but it probably played a part. So, if I was lucky enough to have another 40 years ahead of me, how could I best prepare for that? It's a very long time. If I'm lucky enough to have 20, still a bit of preparation needed. And I couldn't really find any books out there, any resources that really helped me. I mean, there were bits and pieces from different things, but I thought it might be helpful to do a bit of my own research into what I felt I needed, and then pull it together into an accessible format, I suppose. So I've written it in a fairly light-hearted way, but there are some real hard messages, encouragements in there, suggestions for what people could do, things I'm taking on board myself. I suppose the other thing to add is that I talk about my daughter in the book as well, Laura, and she has very severe learning difficulties, and that has presented some challenges over the last 18 years. So for many years, life was quite restricted in what I could do. She moved into supporting living last year, and then that, I suppose, gave me the opportunity to start asking these questions and thinking about what that meant for me, and also what things would mean for her as well as I grew older.
Yeah, and I must admit, again, as I've read the book, there is light-hearted, there's joy all the way through, but there are some questions that you do really have to think about. And before we were coming on live here to everybody, me and Rachel were saying it's made me really think, but not think in a negative way about my next chapter in life, because I'm 53 now, and I used to joke about being 50 and I'm 49, lighter side of 50 and all that sort of stuff. But actually what for me is it just made me realize there is more to do in life, and there is more to experience, and just some of the little simple tools. And you talk a lot about using your senses, and you talk a lot about noticing things around you. And it's key. And you know, I flicked through and I've just noticed the quotes on joy that you've put in and how important that is. And it's lovely that you're celebrating your daughter and you're celebrating, you know, grandparents and parents and that family link, which is just fantastic. So thanks for that. So with regard to the book, you've talked about how you've come up with the idea and how you got to there. Is there any particular people you want to mention? I know you said you wanted to mention some people and some thanks to people. So I suppose this is a chance to mention some of those people. And if they're here, give us a wave and say hi.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, so many people. It definitely wasn't, writing a book definitely isn't something you can do in isolation, I don't think. So probably from the earlier days, people like Anna, I think you were involved right in our very first accountability group. So yeah, having a writing group that was supportive through Michael Heppel's Write That Book was really great. And then later accountability groups, people like Suzanne and Lynn became my writing buddy. I don't think I would have got, definitely wouldn't have finished without you there, Lynn, prodding me on. Lorna as well, another member of the book. And then people like Fiona who got, you know, and Gaynor, always great with positive encouragements. Emma as well, Alison, Ellie, all members, Liz too, Andrea, of course, all members of Write That Book, and giving helpful feedback and encouragement to each other has been really, really, really important. Ruth too, support through work with Pete, my boss, who's on the call. I think he's got his camera off because he hasn't got any bananas apart from very brown ones in the fruit bowl, he said. So hi Pete. And Matt, of course. So Matt took on the massive job of typesetting and talking about the cover and all that kind of thing. That was the bit I'd really dreaded, because that was where I felt most or least skilled and least knowledgeable. So being able to hand that over to someone like Matt just made a huge difference.
And Matt, you've done a beautiful job. You really have.
Yeah, he's done it.
It adds.
It was a bit complicated, so yeah. And I guess I better mention my brother, who is not in the mountains. He's in Bristol. Just pretending to be away, who has been really supportive all the way through. And my mum, so mum's been great because she's been a sort of friendly critic all the way through and just really kind of spurring me on and wanting to know what was happening next and how it was going. So yeah, a big thank you to my mum as well.
Can we give a big wave to Rachel's mum and just a big group wave and hello from everybody there? Fantastic.
I don't know why we can't see her. Anyway, okay, James, I don't know if you can sort that out.
she's here. So yeah, to that Write That Book and that Team 17 thing, and Michael and Michael sends his wishes. He couldn't be here because he's unfortunately doing something else. I have to say, Rachel, when I've started posting about what you were doing today, I've had so many comments from people who sent their good wishes, and you mentioned a lot of them, and Sarah and all sorts of people from the Write That Book community and the Team 17 and how to be brilliant. And you know, you all know about those things, so we won't talk about those too much, but they really have, you know, supported you with this. There are new authors out there, so I'm going to ask you an author question, if that's all right, you know.
Okay.
While people are here. So me personally, and I've mentioned this a couple of times now, I got this book and it was hardback, it was the colors in it, the graphics in it, the typeface. It just felt like a book I just wanted to open and dip in. And as I've said to you, I've read it in a week and dipped in and out of it. So as a book for me, I was excited about the book to open it and read it. But the question to you is about, what was your author process? How did you actually write Happy Silver People? How did you write it?
I don't think I'm a very good example, Steve. It was very I know, well, yes, in that sense, yeah, okay, it exists. I did do it. It took much longer than I'd hoped it would. There was a lot of stopping and starting. There were times when I just I lost confidence completely in what I was doing, and I just stopped, sometimes for a few weeks at a time. and that's where everyone else's encouragement was really important. I think we might have somebody else in the waiting room. No, that's fine. Yeah, so it's very stop-start. They talk about the author coaster, you know, the ups and downs. I definitely felt that. And then I had a period early this year where I was really struggling with fatigue and anxiety, etc. And I thought that might be an opportunity to try and do some more writing, but actually I wasn't able to do hardly anything during that period. So yeah, it's been up and down. I suppose I'd say, you know, don't push it if it isn't coming naturally, but just try and do little bits and build on those. Or if the writing's a struggle, work on your marketing, or if it, you know, there are other things you can do, or work on your cover, or find the bit that's enjoyable, and then maybe go back to the writing at a different point if that really is a struggle for you.
And that's a key message. The key message in the book is about looking after yourself, isn't it? It's about, you know, your mind, your body, your spirit, you know, your relationships with other people, and just keep going. And you know, great attitude is to have gratitude, isn't it? You know, that's one of the chapters I've just opened up here. That's brilliant about this book, basically. You can just open to any chapter. You know, so I've just one here. I'm going to say this in honor of Rachel's brother, actually, with the behind the quote here is, "Getting old is like climbing a mountain. You get a little out of breath, but the view is much better." So that's a great little quote there. Thanks for that. So, folks, I'm going to ask a favor. I'm going to give you a bit of a warning here. We'd love to have a bit of a group picture of anybody who has the book, or anybody who has the book and a banana, or anybody who has a banana, to do the smiley banana bit, but also if they've got the book. And we want to take a screenshot, if that's okay. So this is your advanced warning of that. And in that time, I'm just going to ask Rachel to explore one key idea from the book that you think people should know about Rachel.
Oh, that's quite difficult, because what I found was there's a lot of things that interlink. So it's quite hard to pull out one thing over another, but I would say probably positive mindset might be perhaps the most important.
That's not easy though, sometimes, is it?
No, it's not. No, I'm not. I don't want to suggest trivialize it in any way, or suggest that's easy. I think particularly as you grow older and you often have health issues, you might be in pain, there are a lot of things about growing older that you can expect to be difficult. You know, you'll lose friends, you'll lose family members, you might feel more isolated, et cetera. So it's not necessarily going to be the happiest time in your life if you look at it in that way. But I think keeping a positive mindset, or as positive as you can through that, probably does. You know, you're growing older in a positive way rather than growing older in a less positive way, and being less positive may actually have an impact on the length of time that you live.
And again, just brilliant messages. Then you can see the way Rachel actually lives what she's saying in this book. One of the chapters in chapter 9 is mood music, and I think when we were playing the music before, it just lifts your spirit, doesn't it? And things might not be easy, but finding that track that is your mood music to help you through the day, or to make, to help you, is really really great. So I'm just wondering if people in the audience who are watching us now, maybe pop into the chat what your favorite mood music is. What would be the music that makes you smile, that gives you joy, that, I'm going to say brings on your banana? What piece of music? Pop it in the chat to say what that would be. I definitely am a Queen fan, and Queen, if I put a bit of Queen on, that's the one I have in the traffic when I'm driving home and feeling a bit grumpy. To put the Queen track on. What's yours, Rachel? What's your mood music? What gets you happy and smiley?
I've got quite a few happy tracks. The one you played at the beginning, the REM track. Pharrell Williams, Happy. I've seen Liz has popped that in. David Bowie tracks definitely as well. Lorna's putting Ken Dodd happiness. We had that after Dad's funeral. That was one of the tracks we had with the sort of video that was going on.
Yeah.
Gosh, that really sticks in your head though. Once you start singing that, it just won't go away for weeks.
And it helps that, that emotion, doesn't it? It helps you lift you. And I think everybody here, when you just mentioned that, everyone had a little smile that came on their face, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's a nice segue into the actual taking of the picture. So if you've got Rachel's book, if you've got your banana, if you've got a banana, and actually you get, if you've got a lip, that would be great. If you haven't got, Matt's demonstrating very well. Keep going, Matt. You're doing great there. So if you've got anything that represents something smiley, pop up
yellow.
You
Yes,
might just want a big beaming smile on your face.
Good
Now,
effort.
this is going to be, this is a bit of an experiment because I've got to hold a book and a banana and take a picture at the same time. So mine looks a bit weird. Oh, look at that. Oh, Mo is now improvising. Mo is very creative. Look at that.
Ruth's doing well.
I'm probably going to have to bite my banana and shut up a little bit and take a screenshot. So are we ready? It might take... There we go, done.
Yeah, Mo, that was a good idea.
That's probably the most technical thing I've done in my life on the internet, to be fair. Right, well, Rachel, I've just stupidly put my book on the floor now, so we're going to pick it up. One of the things about your book, which is really, really unique, is that you've got somebody very special and very famous who's written the foreword, Harry Redknapp. And, for the people that may not know Mr. Redknapp, he's an English footballer. He was a manager of many different football clubs. And I'm not a football expert, so please excuse me. West Ham, Portsmouth, Southampton, Tottenham Hotspur, Queen's Park Rangers, and Birmingham City. And then his team, I think it was Portsmouth, wasn't it, that won the FA Cup. And then he went into the UEFA champions, and of course his son Jamie and his uncle Frank Lampard. So quite a famous old chap. So tell us how you got Harry, or how Harry wrote you forward in your book.
Yeah, there's also I'm a Celebrity, wasn't there? He was King of the Jungle, and
of course, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Need to do your research, Steve.
Jam roly-poly adverts and stuff. That's all right. Well, it partly came about because I tried originally to go down the publishing route, and I had a chat to a publisher, and she basically told me nobody would read a book like mine because I wasn't a celebrity. There wasn't really much I could do about that. So I thought, well, perhaps I can see if there's a celebrity, a well-known person who would write the foreword. And that would be partway towards what she was saying. Well, we'd met Harry at the Pride of Britain Awards about 10 years ago when my dad was getting an award, and he chatted to Dad at that point, and I think Harry just sort of said, if you need anything, particularly around fundraising, just get in touch at some point. And it was about 5 years later, when we were down in Bournemouth. I've moved down to Bournemouth. Harry lives nearby. I think you might have seen that on TV as well, down at Sandbanks. And we got in touch with him about some fundraising, and he got involved. He was very happy to be involved. And there was another, also through my daughter, charity that supported her. He did some fundraising for that too. So that was great. So he has some contact. But I hadn't, at the time of putting the book together and thinking about finding someone to write the foreword, I hadn't been in touch with him for a few years, 2-3 years. But I thought, well, I can only ask, he can only say no. He's always said, if there's anything, just get in touch. So I did. He said, yeah, let's meet for a coffee. So yeah, we met up a few times, and he was very happy to do it. We talked through the foreword and put it all together. So yeah,
right. Just amazing. And his foreword is lovely. His foreword, one of the things that struck me about his foreword, and I've got it highlighted here in the book. By the way, it's one of those books that you really want to highlight in. And also, you're very tempted all the time to write in it. And what Rachel has done on her website, she's put lots of resources. So if you've got one of those beliefs you can't write in a book, she's given you no excuse, because you can now go onto her website and get all the resources from the book as well. But mine's full of highlights, yellow highlights, by the way. But Harry says at the start, he said he thinks it's most important to be thankful and be simple in what you do and be nice. And he just quotes, which I found in the lockdown period, about going out for a walk, getting out, having dinner with his wife, Sandra, and just to be fortunate about where we're at. And I think that really does shape the book. So, thanks to Harry. I'm talking like I know him, but thanks for writing that wonderful forward to the book, which I think really does set the book up. Right, we've talked about the book, Rachel, a lot. Now, it would be unforgivable of me in the book to say, in this book launch, to say, how do you get a copy of the book? So what we'll try and do is, if you can, Rachel, maybe in the chat, pop the link, and I'm sure people at the end of, in the next 5 minutes or so, are going to rush out and go and get it. What I've done, I bought it for my dad. I bought the book for my dad. He's a happy, smiley person. He's just had his 80th birthday. So this is going to be under the tree as a surprise for my dad. And so, yeah, I would fully recommend it. It's a fantastic Christmas gift. It's a fantastic gift that I think people won't expect to get. And then when they open it up and they see the colors in it and they see the stuff in it, it's really, really accessible. So I would suggest anybody who wants a good old Christmas present, buy it now. There's a selling point for you. But anyway, let's get off the selling. I think Rachel's just popped in the chat. So just to finish off, Rachel, I have some favorite bits in the book, and this is where I like to test the author. So I've got 3 pages that I'm going to turn to. I'm just wondering if you could give your opinion. She didn't know, by the way, folks, I was going to do this. No. So it's a good test of an author and what they write. So are you ready? Is everybody? Are you ready, Rachel? I'm sorry. Look, Rachel looks really on the spot now, doesn't she? Tell me about Rachel. You ready? I'll give you the clue. I'll tell you where it is in the book. Okay. You haven't got time to look at it, but I loved this one because it's something I've talked about in the live things that I do. It's the magic in the mundane. Tell me about putting magic into the mundane.
How to put magic into the mundane. There's a nice quote there by is it Andy Warhol? Or
you're right. You're right. There is.
Yes. Put magic into the mundane things. Put something into them that thrills you. Yeah. So this was something we talked about in the Facebook group actually about a year ago, and it had some fantastic examples from people of ordinary things that brought them joy. So maybe it was the design, the shape, the color, or it brought back particular memories of a time gone by. So these were just sort of kitchen items. And I remember Anna, for example, talking about the knife sharpener that had belonged to her dad. So just an ordinary object in the kitchen, but it brought back all those lovely memories whenever she used it. And there were other people talking about somebody had a cafetiere that they just loved the shape, and they loved it so much that their husband had actually done a painting of it. So not only did she have the cafetiere, but she had the painting of the cafetiere on the wall. And it's just those small, simple things. We talked a lot about tea towels and the most unexciting of things. But if you have you have to have a tea towel in your house. So why not have one that is attractive, or it's got something interesting on it, or it's got the example I used was the Yorkshire colour chart, which is a little bit funny, or it might be like the one I gave to my brother James for Christmas, which is the Bristol stool chart. So he's got that to refer to. I wasn't going to
tell people about the Bristol stool chart, but that's now. You can discover that one yourself, I think. That's one for you to discover in the book. That's brilliant. So it's clear that Rachel knows the book. I just want to say there was one part of the book, just talking about objects, which did bring a tear to my eye. And I'm not going to spoil it for people, but it was about the toothbrush, and we'll just leave it. We'll leave it.
Oh, okay.
It just brought an absolute tear to my eye, and that was beautiful. So thank you for that, because I'm going to get a bit emotional. You brought back memories of my grandfather and all sorts of things. So thank you for that. Right, enough of that. I'm not meant to be crying in your book launch, aren't I? I'm going to go to this one. Are you ready? No, I think this is a great one for everybody. Making an exhibition of yourself.
Oh, okay. So that's a little section about, I suppose it's related to a couple of things. One is about, you know, it's not easy for everyone to go out and go to different, you know, amazing exhibitions going on around the world all the time. It's not always easy to go and do that. So maybe it's thinking about what you yourself would do if you were putting on an exhibition, what you would want to celebrate, what you would want to display, how you display it, how you would get across your passion for whatever it is that you might be displaying in your exhibition. So it's also about how you communicate things that interest you to other people.
Yeah, and again, that's a great thing about the book. I didn't think that chapter was going to be about that when I read from the title. I thought it was about going to be silly or things like that, which I think people go, oh no, I can't be doing that. But it was actually more about that thinking, you know, that putting yourself out there, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm going to end on one. So if we have our banana, and I'll put my banana on the floor, unfortunately, but you know, your banana could be that way, couldn't it? It could be a frown, but you have put in the book, wiping away the frown on your face, and you talk a lovely story when you opened the door and you had your mop in your hand and your WD-40 in your hand, and you know that beautiful personal experience. So give us a tip of how you can wipe away the frown, how you can get rid of that frown and then turn into a happy silver paper person. Give us a tip.
Yeah, I guess it's thinking about it's those irritating things, but they irritate us every day. You know, every time we do something, it annoys you, but we never seem to find the time to do something about fixing it. And often it's not something that you need to pay somebody else to do. It can just be really small things that just grate. So for me, the example in the book was the porch area, which was hideous. It was a mess. It looked awful, didn't smell great either. But every single time I went out the door and every time I came in the door, I would go through that space. So eventually, rather than it getting me down each time I went in or out, I thought I'll do something to tackle it, and I'll work with its natural characteristics and make it into an area that is nice to go through in either direction. So it's trying to pinpoint some of those.
The book is full of those
small things.
Now, what I'm going to do now, folks, is we're going to slowly start to finish off. But Rachel has put the link to the book, and we'll put it again into the chat. I saw a chat about, somebody said to me, I think it was Anna said to me, this book secondhand, I'm going to have to buy my dad a new one. Don't worry, I'm ordering a new one for my dad. Don't worry about that. I couldn't give him this one because it's full of stuff. It's full of notes and everything. So yeah, I don't know what he'd think about that. And I think my dad's got a thing about writing in books. It probably comes from when he was younger. So yeah, he's getting a new one. So don't worry. But good point. Good point. So what I'm going to ask. Anna. What I'm going to ask, and there's another book sale for Rachel, which is fantastic. What I'm going to ask is if anybody wants to say something to Rachel, and this is hard with a book lunch with people online, could I ask you to use the buttons where you just raise your hand, and then I'll introduce you, and that's the moment when I say your name. Let's not have a long pause. Let's have put your mic on, and then you can talk and switch it off. So if you want to raise your hand or show me through a hand wave, if you've got any questions or anything you want to say to Rachel, a good luck message, give me a little nod as I'm starting to, oh, look, the little hands are all coming up and down now. Fantastic. So if you want, I'm going to go to Anna first, because Anna's waving and she'll have to do this for hours if we do that. So Anna, could I ask you to unmute your mic and say what you need to say? Oh,
you're accidentally muted, I think.
Am I unmuted now?
You are.
Okay. I worked with Rachel on the book, and I just want to say to you that I know there were times when it was hard going, and you know, you had the imposter syndrome and everything, but you climbed above that, so congratulations. That's all I want to say.
Oh, thanks so much, Anna. You were just great, such support. And as you can see, I've put your suggestion into action of having those free downloadable materials if people want to scribble.
Yes.
Great idea. Thank you.
Congratulations.
much gratitude for Anna,
Thank
because
you.
that was what those resources are just superb on the website. So I've got Fiona, I've got Andrea and Gaynor with a little yellow hand on. So I'm going to go to Fiona first. So you go live, Fiona.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Rachel.
Hi, Fiona.
Great, congratulations. And I just wanted to say that over the period of time that I've been watching your journey going along, and I watched you doing the interviews with people and doing your lives and things, it just really inspired me to step out and do lives and things like that. So, you know, and I know how the not feeling like we can, you know, that, what's it called, imposter syndrome and all that. You know, I think we do all get it, but I think watching someone going ahead of us and realizing, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So I think as we go along, you know, and as I've gone along and watched you, you've inspired me to do the things that I've been doing. So well done on the book. And I'm sorry, my book hasn't arrived, and unfortunately, I could only find a sweet corn. I ate the last one.
We'd never have known.
Congratulations and well done.
Thank you, Fiona. That's lovely to hear. I hope your book will be with you very soon. It's definitely been posted, so it's stuck in the mail somewhere. Thank you so much.
You're actually you're living one of the tips in the book about being flexible. So well done with your sweet corn improvisation. I did see someone with a yellow highlighter as well, which I thought was great as well. Thanks, Fiona. And Andrea, can I come to you?
Hello.
Hi, Andrea.
Wanted to say that I'm very impressed with the quality of the book, the outside, the inside, how it's structured, the colors, everything. You've done an amazing job.
Thank you. And Matt, yeah.
I am, I'm very critical when it comes to quality, and you've done so well. And congratulations.
Thank you.
I can feel an Amazon review when it gets to that stage.
Yes, please.
There we go. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Andrea. We've got amazing mic skills, folks, here. This is fantastic. And Gaynor, I'm going to go to.
Hi.
Hi,
Gaynor. You're on. Fantastic.
Well, morning, everyone.
Morning.
Fiona actually stole a lot of what I was just thinking, because I was just
thinking, you can say it again. It's allowed.
You've been there on the same journey as me, I felt, and I followed you really carefully and loved your journey. And I felt supported by your journey, because we've both got our books coming out about the same time.
Yep.
And your book is on my, it was supposed to be wrapped by hubby for Christmas, but I nicked it quick before. So mine is my Christmas list book. So this is my read for Christmas, and I can't wait. Thank you so much. Oh, and I hate bananas.
Thanks, Gaynor.
I hate bananas, by the way.
I know you do. I know. Sorry.
Gaynor, I'm sorry. Look, you need to read it now. Don't wait. One of the things in the book is about not waiting. Do it now. We know who says that, don't we? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, and thank you for all your enthusiasm and your posting, and you know, your book unveiling. It's just joyous to watch, and it's joyous to watch everybody here being part of this amazing journey with Rachel. So Rachel, I'm going to turn to the last bit of the book now, and then I'm obviously going to give you the last word, because it's your book, but there's loads of acknowledgements, there's loads of thank yous in the back of the book, and I think that's really gracious of you. But the last chapter, or the last page, you actually say, here we are at the last page, and you call it Tomorrow, Tomorrow. And there's a beautiful quote, you know, what you do today can improve all your tomorrows. And I think that's a real fantastic message of this book. What we do today, who we speak to, who we're involved with, how we do things just shapes the next steps and the next days of our lives. So I just wondered if you just want to give your last thoughts, your last feelings on this amazing book, and you know, say anything to anyone before we wrap up.
Yeah, well, I think I have to give you a big thank you, Steve, for hosting this and being so positive. That's been great, and a big thank you to everyone who's joined this morning. Thank you very much. And I just set out really, I suppose, to share some observations, some ideas, some learning that I had, and I hoped it would make somebody somewhere pick something up and maybe would make a difference to them. So if I feel that's happening, then I will be a very, very happy person. So thank you.
And you should be a very proud person, because it's a joyous piece of work. So big virtual round of applause from everybody.
Oh, thank you.
There is loads of lovely comments in the chat.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. I'll look through those later.